Welcome to Moonstone Update. I'm Mark Beshard, the Managing Editor of Moonstone Publications. Here's a look at some of the stories we've covered over the past week. But first, please hit the subscribe button and share this video with your friends and colleagues. The Financial Services Tribunal has rebuked the FAIS Ombud for the way in which she arrived at a Sharemax determination. It said the Ombud not only failed to interrogate the FSP's version, but she also championed the client's cause instead of being an impartial adjudicator. Last year, the Ombud ordered an FSP to pay R255,000 to a client who invested in Sharemax property syndication schemes. However, the tribunal said there were material disputes of fact. The only way for the FAIS Ombud to resolve these disputes was to consider oral evidence from witnesses. Bookings are open for Moonstone Compliances' third webinar of this year. The webinar will focus on regulatory risk registers as part of your organization's privacy governance program. It takes place on Wednesday, August the 24th. Regulatory risk registers are a fundamental part of any organization's risk process. Among other things, the webinar will show you how to consider and incorporate BPIA's 8 processing conditions into your regulatory risk register. Follow the link below to book. And now here's Gerrit Verveers from Moonstone Compliance to tell you more about our updated National Credit Act courses.
Need to know more about South Africa's National Credit Act? Look no further than our completely revamped NCA courses, offered by Moonstone Business School of Excellence. Created by Moonstone's compliance experts, these online courses provide practical knowledge that credit providers and credit agents need when applying the NCA to their day-to-day activities, no matter how big or small. Complete with multimedia content, downloadable study guides, and a library of guidelines, including NCR circulars and templates for prescribed returns. Sign up anytime in the year, so follow the link below to get to know your NCA with Moonstone.
And I'm back with our next story. Insured values will become a major discussion point with insureds this year, as high inflation raises the risk of underinsurance for companies and misdeclared values for insurers, according to Alliance Global Corporate and Specialty. The war in Ukraine has fueled global inflationary and supply chain pressures, causing price shocks for a range of commodities, including energy, food, and construction materials. The consequences of such sharp increases in inflation will be felt across most lines of the insurance industry in the short to medium term. people have differing views on whether the High Court made the right decision in ordering Old Mutual unit trust managers to pay more than R1.7 billion in damages for losses suffered by the Living Hands Umbrella Trust. The nub of the plaintiff's case is that certain communications and events surrounding the disinvestment should have alerted Ombuds that the trust funds were at risk, and Ombuds should therefore have reported the transaction. We focus on those communications and events and invite you to consider whether or not you would have reported the transaction. Akani Retirement Fund Administrators says it intends to take legal action following what it called the FSCA's unlawful search and seizure operation at its premises. The FSCA said the purpose of the operation was to gather facts and information to assist the authority in its investigation into the entity after the FSCA received complaints that contained sufficient information to create a reasonable suspicion that Akani might have contravened financial sector laws. Akani said the FSCA's search and seizure operation was unfortunate given the administrator's past cooperation with the authority. The FSCA has published a draft notice setting out the conditions under which collective investment scheme managers will be exempt from some of the requirements of the Collective Investment Schemes Control Act when funds are amalgamated. Section 99 of SISCA provides that a scheme of 2 or more portfolios may not be amalgamated without the prior consent of investors. The industry has long held that the ballot requirements make an amalgamation difficult because the investors in the targeted portfolio are likely to be apathetic. That's all we have for this week. You can read these stories and many more on our website moonstone.co.za. Until next time, here's wishing you all the best from the team at Moonstone Information Refinery.